In this video, we are going to discuss grouping objects and using viewboxes in GraphWorx. Grouping enables the user to manipulate individual vector objects as if they are one object. We can edit the order, location, orientation, and appearance of the grouped objects. A viewbox expands the functionality of the group and creates a container that automatically scales its contents to fit within the size of the viewbox. To explain the concept of grouping in viewboxes, I created a vectored graphic of a pump in GraphWorx. In the Project Explorer, we see the individual objects that make up the pump. If we select one of the object has its own bounding box. We adjust the order, location, orientation, and appearance of the object using the points of the bounding box, or the GraphWorx arranging features. Notice how the manipulations change the individual objects and distort the pump. To treat all objects as one identity and edit together, we need to group them. To group an object, we can highlight all the objects by drawing a selection rectangle on the canvas or individually selecting the objects in the Project Explorer. Once the objects are selected, go to the Tool ribbon and select the Home tab. In the Arrange section, select the Group Objects button. Alternatively, we can use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-G to group the objects. Once the objects are grouped, they act as one identity. Notice how the group now has its own bounding box. Since the group acts as a single object, we can move and resize the individual objects simultaneously. The group also has its own properties. To edit the properties, go to the Properties tab in the right panel. The description for each property is at the bottom of the panel. Most used properties include the object name, the opacity of the object, and the angle of the object. We can also adjust the descendant bounds of the group. The bounds are the height and width of the group in pixels. X and Y is the location of the object on the canvas. Notice how the value change as we reposition and resize the object. We also apply dynamics on the group level. For example, if we add a rotation dynamic and go to runtime, the whole object will move. We can also apply dynamics to the objects within a group. For example, we will cut and paste the rotation dynamic from our group and place it on the pump motor. In runtime, notice how the group is stationary while the motor object rotates. We can also apply dynamics to organize our graphics. We adjust the Z order of the objects in the Project Explorer. We can nest groups within each other to further organize the objects. To have the object auto-scale, we need to place it in a viewbox. Select the group and go to the Tool ribbon, and select the Home tab. In the Arrange section, select the Viewbox button. Notice the pump viewbox in the Project Explorer. If we change the size of the viewbox, notice how the pump scales accordingly while maintaining the aspect ratio. The difference between the viewbox and the group is most evident in a grid display. On the right side of our GraphWorx display, I have a grid with 2 rows. In the first row, I will copy and paste the group. Notice how the size of the pump does not change without changing the size of the bounding box. If I copy the group into the second row and place it in a viewbox, the size of the pump does not change. However, when I change the dimensions of the viewbox to be automatic, the pump automatically scales to fit the size of the cell. In summary, grouping in viewboxes improves the user's ability to control and organize the size and scaling of their symbols. This provides the operator with a consistent UI across the HMI SCADA system.